All right. I would almost say, and now for something completely different, but let's just start for 12 minutes on this question like the return of direct solidarity. One disclaimer, I used this title for a speech with Americans and I thought this was about communism. This is just about the regular European thing about we help each other. Americans like the term transfer for this. This might be also part of this capitalism perspective on economy instead of this human perspective on how we support each other. And the second thing, I was thinking about making a kind of song under it, music, but I couldn't. I started with Darth Vader, but that's not the one you want to look for. And then I thought about Jaws, because I think government's getting very nervous from direct solidarity. But okay, I decided not to try to test the system here. All right, so what do I mean with direct solidarity? Fasten your seatbelts. Years ago, the RMO, Raad van Maatschappelijke Ontwikkeling in the Netherlands, wrote a report on what we call rondje voor de publieke zaak. Where the idea is, you should, instead of accepting beer from government, you should give beer to government, all right? Or the other way around, today we do speeches for Tine, this morning. And of course, at the end of the day, what do we expect? Beer from Tine, all right? So this is what we're looking for. How can we connect direct solidarity to indirect solidarity? And direct solidarity we define as the voluntary donations. I'm a professor of philanthropy and volunteering, of course. The voluntary donations of people where they decide themselves who to support, who they are solidar with, all right? What is the transfer? So it's hardly efficient if you think about attaining resources. I mean, any basic NGO non-profit would love to raise taxes, all right? I mean, raising taxes is so much more efficient if you need your money than going to recruit volunteers or ask for donations. On the other hand, these volunteers and these donors make the decision themselves. This is what they want to do. So yes, it's very effective for minorities because there is a risk that minorities get not these transfers and the solidarity, all right? Look at the food banks also. And it's largely legitimate for the people doing it because it's your own choice. Now, of course, indirect solidarity on the way around is a little bit different. I mean, it is efficient in attaining a resource, all right? The new discussion on the maatschappelijke dienstplicht, okay, for the Dutch, or taxes, it's highly efficient if you want to raise volunteer time. But people might debate if they really want to do it. See the discussion about the difference for Dutch between dienstplicht and diensttijd, okay? That's the real kind of thing. And there is a kind of, yeah, it's effective for the majority. They like it. So what we hope, we thought. So government thinks indirect solidarity and direct solidarity are communicating vessels, all right? If the government retreats, citizens will come in. Yeah, dream on. Citizens will do things by their own choices, all right? So yes, citizens will come to the plate. Almost independent from what government does. Citizens will do something. Citizens always have done, and they will, but not because the government retreats, right? So it's discussions on the WMO where local aldermen tell volunteers at the Zonnebloem who visit elderly people, you're visiting the wrong people because these are the people that are not needing enough. They mean we stopped taking care for them. You should visit the people that we stopped taking care of. But of course, these volunteers are not doing. So, time-wise, they don't step in, but hopefully, by direct solidarity, we can also reintroduce indirect solidarity. So one question that we should research is there a connection between these people that perform direct solidarity and what they meet and what they see and what they do, and also how they see this indirect solidarity? Can we use the idea that so many people are supporting food banks to change the idea of how poverty is reproduced in the Netherlands, right? Difficult topic. So, what does that mean? Irene, we're borrowing heavily from your colleagues because we think if you go to this direct solidarity, you have to think about first, it's about voice, and we should have more attention for civic-driven change. Change does not come from government. Change should not come from companies. Change should come from citizens, all right? So let's do research on civic-driven change. I'm very low on evidence today. I'm much more on ideas. Second, let's not go into communities with the idea, this is what you cannot do. Let's go into communities with the question, what can you do? Let's not address, you're missing a left arm. How can I support you? But ask, hey, what can you do with your right arm, all right? That changes the discussion, and this is what communities, collective action groups are doing. They're not based on what they're not capable of doing. They're based on the assets they have, and with that they start working. And the third perspective is, let's embrace initiative, all right? So today, this whole collective action thing is about celebrating initiative from people that come together and say, we can do this, all right? Years ago, I used the at the Willem Bever perspective, but okay. And then I went to Tom de Bouwer. What was it? We can do it, Tom. That one, Tom de Wilde. So, but how do we look at this initiative, all right? So if you look at the civil society, at non-profit organizations, it's very important to understand these three different kind of perspectives, these three organizations, and we tend to have a preference for the mid one, it looks like, at schools of business. But the first one is really what we call mutual support, mutual benefit, and I think cooperatives are about that, all right? We organize together because together we can have something that is good for the members, the participants. In my research, it's a lot about soccer associations or the AA, and in Tina's research, it's a different kind of thing, but it's about the members, the people helping themselves, each other. Very interesting because these organizations do exist by the right to discriminate. If you play soccer, you cannot walk in with a hockey stick, that kind of things. And it's just a basic right, right? That second organization, the service delivery, is the one that we understand at business schools. Okay? The biggest thing is that customers cannot pay the whole price, and one way or another we give them a reduced price. And then we have the campaigning organizations that just want to try to change the world. With students, at this moment we're thinking about creating an organization called Ban de Hond. We're following the reasoning that it's not allowed to smoke anymore at all kinds of places because it's a public health. We think, well, you can understand. The idea is maybe we should forbid dogs in the public space. It's just for fun. We laugh a lot in the lecture room because some people like their dog. Some people hate their dog, so understand. But that's a kind of three different kind of dynamics that we see in this direct solidarity, all right? Sometimes direct solidarity is about helping each other. Sometimes it's about helping people that are in need. And sometimes it's giving voice to people that cannot represent themselves, or to something like the environment that cannot represent themselves. So that leads to and I'm almost getting there, to the three relations with government. So either we, as direct solidarity, perform something that the government wants, but is not doing themselves. So let's say the start of the VU, okay, for the people. That's really started with direct solidarity, all kinds of people coming together and starting to fundraise, and at a certain moment, totally publicly financed. But that's close to this school, which also started at a certain level on people coming together and starting a school, or the Radboud, which is totally different from all this, the two Rijksuniversiteiten we have, all right? So that's the one. But the second one is doing something that the government doesn't want to do. That depends everywhere in countries. I'm really happy we are organizing sports in this environment, all right? Because if government would do sports, it would be different. And the third one is indeed this relation we have as collective action groups against government, where we try to change policy or try to find our own niche. What is important there is that, I have time for one example. I get annoyed by the idea that food banks should be in contact with government and that the government should make decisions on who's eligible for a food bank. Why? Because it would kick out everybody who's illegal. Maybe not in the Netherlands with the current government, but yes, you should always be afraid of the next government, all right? So, unfortunately, as there are governmental failures, as there are market failures, there are also voluntary failures. Voluntary failures for the civil society or the direct solidarity. There is no perfect solution. That's what we have to find out. Happiness is for cows, and we have to muddle through. So first of all, it's highly inefficient. It's very difficult to get this money and things like that. Second, we have this problem of particularism. Okay, we want to help the people that we like ourselves. I'm really happy to see, I mean, we see it the last few weeks, Turkish people helping people in Turkey, and I like it, all right? This is just part of it. But it's also a kind of negative thing. So it's the voluntary energy, it's a direct solidarity energy, it's a direct solidarity pitfall, Grand Canyon problem or whatever. Paternalism, so I know what's good for you. And with students I have discussions about, are you allowed to organize a food bank that's only vegetarian? Your particularism and your paternalism, all right? And make misuse of your power. If you make it into religion, they say no. If you make it into vegetarian, they start doubting. It's the interesting one. So, and then of course we have the amateurism. I'm going to finish because I only have 1 minute left. So we have 3 basic dilemmas. Are we, with the direct solidarity, for example, this whole thing, are we privatizing democracy? So for example, big funders have more power because it's not one vote, one man, one vote, one woman, one vote, but it's now $1, one vote, $1,000, 1,000 votes. So we're privatizing democracy a bit. Or are we safeguarding against dictatorship of the majority as direct solidarity? Are we making a safe space for diversity? A women-only service club called So Optimisten. Okay. Or a mixed service club called Rotary. What are we doing? Is this a safe place for diversity? Or is it an excuse to discriminate? Because together, everybody can be there. Look at the public broadcasting. Is it a safe place for democracy? That we still have newcomers in? Or is it a kind of, etc. Third one, and that's the last one. Are we helping the poor and the unrepresented to give them a life and sport and food? The food bank dilemma. Or are we getting government off the hook to really solve the problem? Or maybe getting business off the hook? Tine, thanks for giving me the opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, see you.